Welcome back to This is Van Color. My name is Mo Amir, and let's go on a journey. Imagine a beautiful summer day. You're cycling in your city when a Mercedes runs a stop sign and hits you. You're rushed to hospital, so seriously and permanently injured that you require metal rods to put your bones back together with no end in sight in terms of surgery and physical rehabilitation. Then imagine that the Provincial Auto Insurance Corporation, ICBC, decides that you, the cyclist, are 50% responsible for being run down by that Mercedes after, again, its driver ran a stop sign. Suddenly, you have a $3,000 bill to repair the hood and windshield of the Mercedes that severely injured you. You take to social media and the news, and months later, ICBC backs down. You no longer have to pay for repairs on that Mercedes that hit you, and in fact, ICBC changes its policies so that it will not go after cyclists in similar accidents. Tough break, but a good change came of it, right? Except the story doesn't end here. Our featured guest is a cyclist and Vancouver resident who will share the latest developments of his experience and shed light on the potential pitfalls of ICBC's new no-fault model, where most accident victims cannot sue the offending driver and the insurance corporation. He is Ben Bolliger. Ben.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Nice to be here.
You seem to be in good spirits.
I am in good spirits, yeah.
So I want to pick up the story where I just left it off.
Sure.
You filed a Freedom of Information request, an FOI request, to get information on your specific case and the claim. What did you find out from ICBC?
Yeah, so under this no fault system, there's no real recourse in terms of challenging ICBC's assessment of fault in the court system. So I wanted to know exactly what their rationale was for determining that I was originally 50% at fault.
Right.
So what was really surprising when I received the 266 pages, most of what I requested, there were some gaps, namely the police report. ICBC has not turned that over yet. But when I received that package of information, the piece that really stuck out for me was that the police report, the witness statements, and ICBC's own claims adjuster back in October deemed that the driver ran the stop sign and that there's no way that my injuries, the damage to the vehicle, could have been so severe if the driver had stopped.
Right. So then why were you found 50% responsible initially?
Yeah, this was overruled only a few days later by the claims adjuster's manager, stating that because there was no dash cam in this situation, it would be very difficult to prove that situation.
Wait, so there was no dash cam in the car of the driver.
Correct.
So now it was 50% your fault.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't make this up.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just so out there.
Yeah.
And it speaks, I think, to the black box that really is ICBC. They determine who they decide to interview as witnesses. I know, based on the information provided, they did not interview all of the witnesses in my case. They decide what they're going to look at in terms of damage and evidence, and then they make the determination of fault.
Right.
So that was shocking to me because you don't have legal recourse any longer.
Right.
So,
and in your case, like a lot of injuries and rehabilitation that you need is coming up over the months. Like you don't know initially what you will require in terms of your physical therapy, right?
Totally. And that's another serious pitfall, in my opinion, of this new no-fault system. So the clock starts on the date of your accident, and then for 12 weeks you can access physiotherapy, rehab without a doctor's note. After that 12 weeks, any sort of rehabilitation you may require requires a doctor's note. I mean, so many British Columbians don't have family physicians or a care team that they can just easily access. In my particular case, my injuries were so severe, my right arm was completely immobilized for 8 weeks with those rods.
Wow.
So I couldn't start physiotherapy until about 9 weeks after I had some of that metal taken out.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't work for someone that's been seriously injured.
So to me, it sounds like this is less of an isolated case where maybe it was adjudicated incorrectly, but it sounds like it speaks more to a systemic problem with this no-fault model.
I believe so. One of the questions that I was asking from the get-go when I received that $3,800 bill for the repairs to the vehicle that ran a stop sign and hit me was, how many other people has this happened to since the no-fault system came in?
Right.
And I kept asking. And then the day ICBC made the announcement that they would discontinue that, they also dropped that there were 65 other vulnerable road users who had received bills to repair damages to the cars that hit them.
And this is cyclists and pedestrians as well.
A scooter operator and a skateboarder as well.
Wow.
Now, keep in mind, those 65 fall into a very narrow definition or bracket for ICBC. It means that the vulnerable road user was killed, seriously injured, or there was not enough evidence as decided by ICBC,
right,
so that it's 50-50 at fault.
Wow.
So pretty alarming, I would say, considering that we don't have access to legal recourse anymore.
Yeah.
We can go through the Civil Resolution Tribunal right on that website. It discourages you from bringing a lawyer. I mean, I don't think they would throw a lawyer out, but
right.
I mean, they are really pushing you out of the legal system and into these other mechanisms for resolving these things. And there's no option for pain and suffering pay anymore. I mean, that is off the table. In my case, ICBC has offered to repair or replace my bike, which was snapped in half, helmet, and cell phone. $2,600 total. That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow.
No consideration for the ongoing pain and suffering, rehab that I'll require. And another really disturbing element of the Freedom of Information docs I received was that ICBC attempted to shut down the injury portion of my claim 3 times while I was still in active treatment at VGH.
Really?
December, January, and March 15th.
Wow. Yeah. Well, Ben, I appreciate you sharing your story because I feel like unless you go through this, and I don't wish this on anyone, you don't know how this system works. So I think your story is really important. I certainly hope that your recovery is as soon and as best as possible.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you being an advocate and shedding some light on this new system. And hopefully we see the reforms that will help other people like you navigate this system. So thanks so much.
I appreciate it.
Folks, that was Vancouver resident Ben Bolliger, who, by no fault of his own, is learning the hard way about navigating the very confusing no-fault model of ICBC. Now stick around because after some business, we're going to lighten the mood and judge the Zoom rooms of past This Is Van Color guests so that hopefully you don't make the same mistakes for your next virtual meeting. Room Raiders Jesse Bari is up next. I'm Mo Amir. This is Van Color.